Hey, my name is Demea Jamison. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm 44 years old, and I currently reside in Waxahachie, Texas. However, I am originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, the greatest city in the world. If you don't believe me, come check us out. I am currently a lead test engineer at L3 Harris Technologies in Waco, Texas. And I am an alumnus of the Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I graduated from Southern with my Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering. And I am affectionately known as the HBCUDad. And I live here with my wife, Shaemekia Jamison, who is also known as the HBCUMom. And we have two sons, Bryce, who is 11, and Miles, who is 4.
Hi, my name is Shaemekia Jamison. I am 42 years old. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I am originally from Burnt Corn, Alabama, a small 4-mile community, but I currently now reside in Waxahachie, Texas, with my husband, Demea Jamison, who is known as the HBCUDad, and our two sons, Bryce, who's 11, and Miles, who's 4. I am a graduate of Tuskegee University. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science and a Bachelor's of Arts in Mathematics. I currently am employed with Lockheed Martin as a quality engineer. And I am affectionately known as the HBCUMom.
I was born into the HBCU culture. My mom, my dad, my grandmother, my uncles, my aunts, they all attended Southern University. And I can remember as young as, maybe 6 or 7 years old, my dad, who was a season ticket holder in football, he would always bring me to the games. So I was going in and out the stadium since then. So I knew every nook and cranny of Southern University campus, and so I believe it was destined for me.
Did your family give you any grief when you decided to go to my college instead?
No, they actually didn't. I think it was laid out. It was clear to them that I had said for years that my goal was to earn a football scholarship coming out of high school. So even though it wasn't at Southern, my journey didn't begin there. Accomplishing that goal and achieving that goal to attain that football scholarship was, they knew it was important to me, so they didn't give me any grief. And actually, they all supported me. They all showed up at the games, even though it was a 5-hour ride from New Orleans to Birmingham, Alabama.
Subconsciously, I think I chose Tuskegee after watching A Different World. So that was like mid-80s. I didn't really know what I was watching, but I knew from the Black excellence, the family. I wanted a friend like Jaleesa. I wanted a Kim. I didn't want a Whitley Gilbert, but I wanted that atmosphere. I wanted to be able to go somewhere. They had a sense of being while they were there, and it was so many Black people doing great things. So I knew I wanted to go to an HBCU subconsciously without even knowing it at that young, tender age. My uncle introduced me to the Alabama State Tuskegee University Turkey Day Classic. I didn't understand the hype about going to a football game on Thanksgiving Day. Like, I can be at home eating and watching TV and chilling, and y'all want to get all huddled up, cold, and go and watch a game. So the first time I went, I didn't understand it, but the first time I went as a student at Tuskegee University, I understood everything. And he was an ASU alumni, so I understood the hype. I understood why he wanted to be in the building. I understood why his entire family would pack up on Thanksgiving Day and migrate to Montgomery, Alabama to be in that area, in that feeling. So I chose Tuskegee University because of all of that. My trajectory in getting to Tuskegee was a long road. I got accepted to Alabama State University full ride, But at home, ASU had a reputation for being a party school, so didn't really want to go there. And then I still had Stillman College, you had Miles, you had Tuskegee University, as well as Alabama A&M. The reason I chose Tuskegee University was I didn't want to go where somebody else was already at. There were older alumni from my hometown that were graduates of Tuskegee, but nobody currently was on campus. And so I thought, why not go? Plus, they gave me the most money in scholarship offerings, so Tuskegee University was where I belonged.
From a personal standpoint, it's affected me by continuing to reinforce the mindset that I'm a part of Black history. Being a part of the HBCU culture, the HBCU community, now with it being so prevalent in the media, being a part of that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to see people that I went to school with or people who have succeeded. You know, you think of people in powerful positions, whether it be political, musically. You see those people and knowing that they have the same background as you know, that puts me in the same category, and it makes me feel good that I'm doing my part as well. Now, from a career aspect, I believe it's affecting me because I'm able to see that because of my HBCU education, I can go out into the world anywhere and stand toe-to-toe with somebody who may have went to Texas A&M, who may have went to the University of Texas or the University of Southern California. We're all on a level playing field. What they learn at their schools is the same thing I learned. We just went to different locations. And knowing that we can all succeed and progress and climb the ladders in our career doesn't make a difference. It's important to me because I'm a third generation HBCU graduate. Knowing that I've graduated from Southern University, my mom and dad graduated from Southern University, and I have a host of aunts, uncles, and even cousins that have graduated from Southern University, and as well as other HBCUs as well. It makes me feel, good that I'm holding up the legacy going forward. And it's one of those things that I'd love to pass down to my kids if they desire. Am I going to push for Southern University? Of course, absolutely. But the choice will still be theirs. But I'm here to help guide them in whatever way they choose. From a social standpoint, it's really good. It's a really good feeling to know that the people that I went to school with, hung out with, took classes with, are now succeeding in multiple areas of their life. Some are successful business owners, some are successful engineers, some are successful in the medical field, and others in education. It makes me feel good to know that the training that we received at our HBCU carries on into so many different fields of endeavor.
Personally, attending an HBCU has been an extension of my upbringing. I came from two very small communities, Burnt Corn, Alabama and Mesa, Alabama. In both of those, it was a village mentality. The women from my church raised me, the women in my community, my aunts, uncles, grandparents, on both sides, both my maternal and paternal family side. I had that strong community network. So stepping foot on campus and it being an extension of what I had at home, having that community, having that village, having those friendships and those networks, it solidified that I was in the right place. Career-wise, attending an HBCU has been profound in my networking capabilities. Every time I interview for a defense contractor, it was a Tuskegee University alumni that was sitting across the table from me. When I interviewed for Lockheed Martin, the person that interviewed me was actually a Tuskegee grad and a computer science and mathematics major. So we had the same background, which was perfect because he was able to tell me his career trajectory at Lockheed Martin and help me understand my growth opportunities there. Family-wise, I am a first-generation college graduate. So I was the first one in my family that set foot on a HBCU campus. Behind me came my brother, my sister, my cousins, and now my niece. So I have a niece and a cousin that are current students at Tuskegee University. So family-wise, it put forth an effort to create a legacy of HBCU graduates in my family. Attending an HBCU has affected my life socially. There is no other network like an HBCU network. The opportunities that it brings, I have lifelong friends that I created at Tuskegee University. I actually have created a village around my family, and two of those people are HBCU, Tuskegee University specifically graduates. They transitioned their lives here because of me. I had one move from Chicago to Texas because I sold her on Texas and being close to me and that family love. And now she's here maybe 3 miles down the road. She's the godmother of both of my boys, along with other friends that I have created from my Tuskegee University experience, as well as the network that I had within Lockheed Martin.
Involved in playing football for about the first 3 years of my time at Southern University, and the 1 semester I spent at Miles. But we'll focus on Southern University right now. So there were plenty of mornings where we had to be in the weight room at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, then make it to the cafeteria to eat, then go to class all day long, then go to practice, then finally eat again for dinner, and then make it back to my room to study or do work or whatever it is, and then repeat the cycle again at 4 o'clock in the morning to get back up to go to the gym. So that was pretty much my day-to-day life a lot of times. Additionally, one of the greatest things I had the opportunity to do was to become a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I took the time to become a member in the spring of 1999. Shout out to my LB, 624, I see y'all. So I spent a lot of time doing that, afterwards working for the fraternity in various capacities, and being a general representative as a student, as a football player, and as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm currently active in the Fort Worth alumni chapter. I'm the keeper of Exchequer. I would like to continue my progression in the fraternity and move up the ladder into bigger and better and roles in the organization. Where did I hang out and how were classes? Okay, so let's get the class stuff out of the way, because I'm not the most studious, or I wasn't the most studious at the time. I was kind of the classic underachiever, if you will. I didn't realize kind of until maybe my junior year when it was like, hey, at some point you need to graduate and not just get by and hang out and kind of, do whatever, because you're paying for college. So I spent a lot of time just hanging out until my junior year when I really realized that I had to get serious about school. After that, I put in the work and graduated in the summer of 2001. As far as where I hung out, one of the traditions at Alpha Sigma, which is the Kappa chapter at Southern University, one of our biggest traditions is going to the lot on Fridays. It's the time where our chapter takes the time to bond with each other, both older brothers and newer brothers, all coming together at this one place. We would hang out, we'd have, food, and to be more specific, Blue Store chicken. We'd bring that to the frat lot. We'd all hang out, have some drinks, and we hang out. We learn about each other. We learn about the process that each of us went through. We learn new information and how we can develop better brothers.
At university, I was involved my freshman year. I got into intramural football. I was on a team. I played that my freshman and sophomore year. By my junior year, I was on an intramural basketball team, but I couldn't play. So I was more just intimidation. I was a tall girl coming off the bench that they thought had skills, none whatsoever. I also was in the Alabama club. At Tuskegee, we had all states had a club, so you could feel like a network, a close-knit family. So students from New York, Cali, Bahamas, the diaspora, they all had some kind of club to join and participate in. And I also was an orientation leader. My junior year, I went out for it so I could go and help school the kids that were incoming freshmen and tell them about Tuskegee, the pros and cons, the do's and don'ts, everything that I had learned. And during my 3 years there, I wanted to share with the next incoming class. So at Tuskegee University, I hung out mainly in the computer labs. We were in John Andrews, which was an old hospital. It was terrifying to be there sometimes at nighttime. You just heard things go creak in the night. We also transitioned to Wilcox E, where we were in the computer lab there. But most of the time you could find me from 11 to 1 on the AB because that's where everything was going down. You were either gonna see a step show, hear the latest music going on, everyone showing out their latest fashion trends and things of that nature. So I was in the lab or on the yard. Classes, I say, for me, math and anything that was related to math came easy. If it was a finite answer to a problem, that was easy peasy. I had no problem. Computer science classes, it wasn't that it was terribly hard. It was the fact that there were infinite solutions to come to the desired outcome. So I may be working on something and doing it one way, and my peers were working on it and doing it a totally different way. So when we try to help each other and get sound, they'd be like, well, I ain't do it like that. So I don't know where you headed in your program, so I can't really help you out there. So that was the tough part, was that there were so many ways to get to the desired outcome. My classes were very small. It was mostly 12 people in a classroom, and that was in my core electives as well as my major classes. I actually got the nickname Wine Girl from my computer science professor because as soon as he gave out an assignment with a due date, I would say, can we get an extension?
Of course you did. Of course you did.
As soon as he gave it, I was like, can we get an extension? Wine Girl.
Oh, he was Jamaican.
No. He was Asian. Yeah, but he was like, Wine Girl. Yeah, that was my name from Dr. Chin. Three benefits of going to an HBCU are, number one, HBCUs foster a climate for success. You're there amongst peers that look like you. Some of us, for the first time since grade school, we are in a climate where we are the majority and not the minority. So that in itself, being in a place where you have a sense of belonging, a sense of self, a sense of power and pride, that is number one of the top reasons to attend an HBCU. Another reason is that HBCUs offer opportunities for first-generation low-income students. Myself being one of those, a first-generation low-income student that received the Pell Grant and federal student loans, HBCUs are classic in offering those continuing education opportunities for that class of students. And number three, homecoming. What other institution makes it where you live for that one day a year that you get to go back, reunite with your fellow peers and other alumni. I recall stepping out of Adams Hall as a freshman at Tuskegee University and feeling like the campus had been overtaken by alumni. I couldn't move. It was so many people outside greeting each other, loving on one another, and then for the alumni to come back to their respective colleges and tell us about their opportunities in corporate America or in the medical field or in politics or wherever they were going. Those moments, those opportunities, those networks, that family, that sense of being, those are all benefits in attending an HBCU.
So I believe we should go hard for HBCUs for 2 reasons. From a cultural and historical standpoint, it's important now that we take advantage of the media attention that HBCUs and the HBCU culture is receiving. It's always being pointed out that this person went to an HBCU, this person went to an HBCU. For instance, the world now knows that the Vice President of the United States went to Howard University. The world knows that there are numerous congresspersons that went to HBCUs. The world knows that there are CEOs that have matriculated at HBCUs. So culturally, it's up to our generation and the generation before us to continue to carry on and enforce and teach the next generation that, hey, you too can be a vice president, you too can be a CEO, you too can be a congressman, you too can be a news anchor. It's important now for them to understand that these paths can all be obtained through going and attending an HBCU. Historically, I think we as alumni and future alumni have to remember that a lot of our schools came about at the end of slavery. And we talk about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and getting out and earning things on your own. This was their first opportunity to really take advantage of the opportunity to learn. They created these schools for themselves, and now they're still being sustained, hundreds of years later in some cases. So we have to remember that our ancestors built these schools not just for them, but for their legacy to carry on for years and years.
The educational significance of attending an HBCU are that we produce the largest number of blacks in STEM. HBCUs are the founding place of that, as well as just the ability to be able to go and belong, have a sense of being, having professors that know you by name and not by a number, being able to approach them after class and speak to them and not have to deal with office hours or dealing with an admin assistant. Tuskegee University, I speak for them specifically, our retention rate, let me see real quick, for freshmen continuing past their freshman year, we're at 70%, with a nationwide average of 69%. So we're performing a little bit above them. We also have the graduation rates for Tuskegee University. And for Tuskegee University undergrads finishing within 6 years is 36.4%. But they do state that in an additional 2 years, that graduation rate increases to 66.8%. And that shows you that you can start at HBCU and continue your education there, because we don't know what kind of issues, family, medical, financial burdens you may bear, but you have those opportunities to be at an HBCU and continue and complete your education.
So, fun fact, my wife went to Tuskegee. I had the opportunity to go to Tuskegee when I was in high school. I was offered a football scholarship but turned it down. Oh well. So we still met anyway. I think financially it starts, particularly as alums, we have to start with our local alumni federation, alumni clubs in various cities. For instance, Southern University, we have one here in both Dallas and in Fort Worth. And I think it's important for us to become members and contribute that way, because those are the first sources that the school looks to. So from a recruitment standpoint, they look to those alumni clubs for students. They look to those alumni clubs to help generate and raise funds. And what activities are in your cities elsewhere that we can capitalize off of to drive money, students, and interest back to our home school.
Financially also, the first thing that anyone that's going to give you a huge donation, any kind of grant, fellowship, they're looking at your alumni giving rate. So if alums aren't giving back to the institution, these people are looking, well, why should I give? So we have to increase our alumni giving rate. And that could look like giving $1 a week. It just increases. If every alumni that graduated from an HBCU decided, I'm going to give $1 a week or $1 a month, it doesn't matter the amount, it just matters that you're giving back. We increase that alumni giving rate, then we look way more profitable. We look way more invested in our own institutions that others will invest in us as well.
And let's not forget, you don't have to just give to your school. You can give to another school as well.
Yes.
So I can contribute to Tuskegee. I can contribute to Kentucky State. I can contribute to St. Augustine's or Shaw University.
Yeah.
We have to think about the bigger picture and giving to all universities, along with giving to our own.
Yeah, there is a Facebook campaign right now called HBCU Alumni United. They ask for everyone that's involved in that group, which is over 200,000 HBCU alumni, to give $5 a week to 3 different institutions. And if we could just get the 2,000 in that group to commit and give, we would be doing our HBCUs a great service. So if you're out there and you're watching, get plugged in, start giving that $5 a week to the 3 institutions that they identify, so we can help improve our alumni and friends giving numbers. So as for me, an HBCU alumna, I promote Tuskegee all day, every day. As you see, I stay flossed in my TU wear. My kids stay flossed in Tuskegee gear. Like, we support all Black-owned businesses that rock HBCU branding. But in my church, the church that I was once,
Come on. We must see your shirt. Real quick. Real quick.
just come back.
Wow.
Thank you.
That was it. We just needed to see your amazing shirt that you have on today.
Okay. Okay. I stay promoting Tuskegee all day, every day. And you never know where you may meet a student that needs to know about your HBCU, needs to know your offerings. And so at a church that we were once members of, we met a young man. I had been tutoring him and his brother in mathematics for a while. And I approached him after church asking what was he gonna do after graduation. He told me his interests were aerospace engineering. And I'm like, hold on, wait, Tuskegee got the best aerospace engineering program. And he said he wasn't only interested in aerospace engineering, but he wanted to attend a school which allowed him the opportunity to have his pilot license. And I was like, you wanna go to Tuskegee? Because not only do we offer an aerospace engineering degree, but we also offer the opportunity for you to get your pilot license while you're participating in that program. And so we grabbed the young man. We went to Genghis Grill, chatted over a while. I helped him get into filling out his admission information, applying to school. He got accepted, and he has been like my number one resource in saying, hey, you can impact a child that you were never even thinking about impacting and getting them to an HBCU.
Yeah, and I think from a media standpoint, we see all the attention that Deion Sanders gets at Jackson State. I think we have to continue to build on what he's done at other schools. So, our leaders and our coaches and our students, we have to get out on the social media networks and promote constantly, 24/7. We need to continue to put our school's name in the media space. One of the things I heard watching something that Deion Sanders was doing, he made this comment about if a PWI decides to let their recruit attend the HBCU homecoming, that's the greatest mistake you've ever made, because you just lost it. There's nothing like attending an HBCU homecoming in order to promote your brand. There's no experience like it, and I agree with him.
Yeah. I mean, Beyonce gave the world just a smidgen of our HBCU homecoming experience with her tour, Homecoming. So the world is already ready and primed for the HBCU culture. We just need to get them into the HBCUs.
One thing I can say, I think as HBCU grads, we have to continue to talk to our fellow persons that we know, be it in our career path, or just in everyday life, that hey, you too can help us out. You too can contribute financially, and even just verbally in your media spaces. Promote, hey, here's what FAMU has going on right now. It's a really great event. Maybe you all take a trip to see the campus, expose some students to those campuses. I think those are things we can do.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing that I think we can do, HBCU alum, we are great at welcoming anybody into our space and telling them that they're home. So get invested in attending games, and it doesn't have to be necessarily our homecoming. It could be any event that we have going on. Tuskegee has a lot of things that we do. We had a Lockheed Martin Day, and that was probably a few years back where we brought out the helicopter that we're building. When we partnered with, we didn't partner, we kind of consumed Sikorsky. But we brought that out there, and students were just in awe of the opportunities that they could have at Lockheed Martin. And another dope thing that Lockheed did was that we offered on-the-spot jobs that day. So it wasn't just that they came out and used their name and showed the kids a nice helicopter, but we were there saying, we have 100 wrecks to fill, and we're going to fill them today, and it's going to be at this HBCU. And they've done that with, I think, Jackson State and another institution as well, and they plan on continuing that legacy at other HBCUs.
I think one other thing for non-HBCU grads is, you may have obtained your, bachelor's degree from, anywhere, University of Wisconsin, but that doesn't stop you from going to, Texas Southern to get your master's degree.
Yes.
You can obtain certifications at HBCUs as well.
Right.
Those are other ways we can get non-HBCU undergraduates to support, on a graduate level and beyond.
So my advice for a parent who wants to send their child to an HBCU is, first thing first, educate yourselves on the HBCU offerings. There are so many different options out there. If a student wants to stay local to home, if they have a specific major in mind, if they have a sport that's particularly that they want to play, things of that nature. Just get the education, but also immerse them in the HBCU culture. And it doesn't have to be at the college that they necessarily want to attend. It could be a college local to you. Just get them on campus, get them experience with the culture, get them in tune with their expectations at a HBCU. I think that immersion aspect of, if you have a child that you want to attend an HBCU, they need to understand it. They need to have some kind of fellowship and connection with the HBCU lifestyle. Bryce was in what, third grade?
Yeah, second and third grade.
At Catherine Johnson, and they had every Wednesday, it was college t-shirt day. Well, I set on a mission that every Wednesday he would wear an HBCU college. And that not only was for him, but it was for the exposure to other kids to ask the question, where's that? What is that? So we reached out to friends on Facebook and asked them, hey, if you graduated from an HBCU, send us a t-shirt, size large. And my son will wear it, and we took pictures. We sent postcards to let him know, hey, he wore your t-shirt, and thank you. And it was always those little jabs in there about, Tennessee State, it's all right, but it ain't Tuskegee. So we always kept that camaraderie with those that sent us their HBCU t-shirts. But I think the first thing, you don't have to take a elementary grade school student to the campus, but just that we have books on HBCUs that are for those students. So there's several different opportunities that you can engage and immerse and educate your kids on an HBCU experience.
I believe that we have encouraged a lot of parents to just take a look. A lot of things that she's done with the Tuskegee Alumni Club, and I've done myself as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I participated in a number of panels with young high school upcoming graduates, and kind of told them about my experience at Southern University. I explained to them that things aren't going to be easy. I mean, it's college. It's the next step up. However, there is an opportunity to enjoy yourself and to immerse yourself in the culture. Reach out to friends that that you don't see at home. I encourage them. If staying at home isn't your thing, go away. There are HBCUs all over this country that you can go out and meet new people. And sometimes those are the friends that you have forever. Yeah. One of my good friends, he was from Chicago. My freshman year, he took me to Chicago, and I was like, oh wow, this is a new world. So I think, those are the opportunities that I try to pass on to young men and women that I've run into. What about yourself?
So I think the biggest thing that I encourage others to do in regards to HBCUs is let go of your preconceived biases about them. One of the biggest things is that I'll hear somebody say, but that's a party school. And it's like, well, University of Alabama is a party school too, but nobody focuses on that. So I want people to let go of those preconceived biases that they have about HBCUs and just get to know them, get to learn about the Black excellence there, find out about our graduation rates and our retention rates, things of that nature. Find out about the student to teacher ratio, the office hours, the culture, because some of the things that you may not think are big deal breakers for you, they could be big deal breakers for your child. So listen to your kids about the experience that they want for colleges. Let go of your wishes and hopes for them in regards to where you want them to be, and just let it go. Like, just flow with it. So I want people, parents particularly, to be open to new things. So if you've had a want for your child to be an Ivy League, we have Black Ivy Leagues. There's Howard, there's Tuskegee, there's Spelman, there's Morehouse. So we have those Ivy League schools. So you don't have to go to a Yale or a Howard to have that Ivy League experience. So that's my biggest thing, is to let go of those preconceived biases about HBCUs.
I think for one of the things that we're doing for our children is we're trying to get them exposed to the culture. So, my big thing, I'm a sports guy. So I'm constantly taking my kids to football games and basketball games. So whenever Southern makes a trip to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I'm always trying to get to the game so that they can have that experience. I'm taking them to homecoming so that they can see, the things that I did while I was on campus, the things that the current generation is doing on campus. Just seeing the way that, we interact with each other during these events.
Yeah, for our oldest, Bryce, he's been to several different homecomings. He's been to a few with you. He's been to some Tuskegee ones. Some of the Tuskegee ones, he was a baby and didn't even know he was in the mix, but he was there and he was ready. Tuskegee, get out. But the thing that we do for our child is we have an in-home rivalry. There is a Southern versus Tuskegee, but I'm not particular to them being a Southern or Tuskegee grad. I'm particular to them being an HBCU grad. So if that comes with them going to Alabama State, I'm gonna bite my tongue, but I'm gonna support them. So I just think we have been big advocates of HBCUs, the power that resides in them, the legacy that is in them, the legacy within your family of being third generation HBCU graduates, and me starting that legacy with mine. Like, we taking over the world.
So one of the primary ways I engage with my alma mater, first way is I'm a life member of the Southern University Alumni Federation. So I think it's important for all graduates, regardless of college, to get active on some level, whether it be nationally and, if possible, locally in your alumni federation. So I am life member on the national level, and I'm also a member of the Fort Worth Alumni Federation of Southern University. I try to participate in as many events as I can. I do have other commitments as well, but I try to make it a point to, it's important to attend the meetings, know what's going on, so that you can stay plugged in and engage in the activities that are helping to drive interest, funds, and opportunities back to our home university. Also, I believe that I am also an active member of what's called the S Club at Southern University. So it is an organization for former student athletes at Southern University. One of the things that our current head coach, Eric Dooley, is doing right now is for our spring football game, he's made it a point to engage with the former student athletes on the football team and invite all of them back for our spring game, which is actually next week. So I think what it is, he's trying to drive inclusion so that former athletes aren't left out. They know what's going on with the program. They'll have an opportunity to give back and pour into the current student athletes, be it financially or be it from a standpoint of sharing stories of what can we do to help you all succeed down the line. I think also being a member of Kappa Alpha Psi as well at Southern University, one of the things that we do to stay connected is every year we have every year going forward. Our first one was last year. We have a cookout, and it's aimed at bringing the old school and the new school together in one location to kind of recreate the experience that we used to have hanging out each and every Friday on the lot. What we're trying to do is, we would take it to different cities. Last year we did Houston. This year we're actually doing Dallas, and I'm on the planning committee for that. So we're trying to drive home, that sense of togetherness, that sense of bonding, that sense of brotherhood. And a lot of that was cultivated at Southern University. So way back, I actually used to work at Lockheed, which is where we met. We were in email distribution chat group with a number of HBCU graduates. And this dates back to probably maybe what, 2004, 2005?
Yeah, I got into it
so,
in 2006.
Right. So she came along in 2006 into, the discussion. And this was not on official work email.
Right.
But the group consisted of, a number of people who graduated from Southern that I attended school with. Florida A&M, North Carolina A&T, Prairie View, Tuskegee,
University of Arkansas
University
Pine
of
Bluff.
Arkansas Pine Bluff. So it was a host of HBCU graduates in the group, and we had always gone back and forth about why are our schools not receiving the publicity? We do just as much as other schools, and we just kept throwing out these ideas, and we were like, yeah, maybe we should just talk about it, see what we can get going on, and almost 15 years later, we're still talking about the same things and continuing to keep that conversation and these ideas growing. So that's kind of how, the problems that we noticed and how this whole thing came about.
Yeah, I think the first problem in the distro that we talked about was funding. And the biggest area that we kind of honed in on was our recruiting opportunities. We saw our top level athletes that were Black going to predominantly white institutions, and we're like, if we could just get them at an HBCU and pull that media attention, pull that revenue into a sport, basketball and football, these are big revenue sports. If we could get those top athletes into our HBCUs, we could pull a lot more money back to us. And so we started thinking about how can we talk to these top recruits and tell them, like, if you would be the first one to take that step to go to an HBCU. And it's funny that we were having that discussion, 15 years ago, and now you have a young Black man that decided he was gonna be the one to say, I'm gonna take that step. I'm taking my talents to an HBCU, somewhere that I belong. And that's kind of kicked off this transfer process where a lot of kids that were unhappy at PWIs but were afraid to say they were unhappy because they thought this was their best opportunity to go pro. And so they dealt with a lot of stuff that we've been trying to say HBCUs offer that comfort of being.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we maintain in that conversation is all it takes is for our colleges to just reach out. It doesn't cost you anything in your recruiting budget to send an initial email or, what's the cost of a stamp right now? It doesn't cost you that much to send them a letter.
Yeah.
At least generate the interest. Because what you're hearing from a lot of these top recruits now is, well, I didn't consider an HBCU because they never reached out.
Mm-hmm.
Sending a letter or email or a phone call doesn't cost you much. Yes, you have constraints within the NCAA as far as, how many calls you can make or how much contact you can have, but letters and emails, they cost nothing.
Speak to the parents.
The parents.
The niche of your audience being
Okay.
parents. Give me more about how the idea came about to focus on parents versus focusing on students for your brands.
Okay. I believe the initial thought was if we can talk to these parents. Because kids were seeing the glitz and the glamour of if I go to a University of Alabama with their record, then I'm about guaranteed that if I continue with what I've been doing and performing, I can go pro. So we thought if we could reach the parents and let them know that your kid could be history, they could be a part of history in starting this momentous migration back to HBCUs. And then also tell them, like, this is a safe space. Like, they don't have to deal with microaggressions, and they're gonna have life to deal with all of that. So the 4 to 6 years that they're in college, allow them that space of safety, of comfort, of being a majority and not a minority, of seeing Black excellence all around them and not thinking that, oh, we're a minute part of this broader spectrum of life. So we thought if we could just talk to parents and get them to see what we see as HBCU grads, then that would be momentous in getting that migration back to our HBCUs.
Yeah, and I think you have to remember that the parents are who the children are going to see each and every day. So if we can talk to those parents, a lot of times when they're having these discussions with their children, they're going to say, hey, remember when we were talking to the HBCUMom and the HBCUDad, and they were saying, that opportunity that you're looking for lies at this HBCU. Why not consider them as well? Not necessarily only for us, but at least throw that into the discussion that you're having with these, with the different schools that you're talking about. So we never reached an agreement. It was kind of a, let's just do it. Yeah. There was nothing fun. We didn't say, okay, we're gonna start this date, we're gonna do this, we're gonna lay all this out. It was just like, let's just do it,
And I think we've been doing it for years as graduates of HBCUs. We've been sharing with parents, with students, with anybody that'll listen about the greatness. I know I do, about the greatness of Tuskegee University. So it was always embedded in my DNA that I was gonna share about that Tuskegee experience, and it's none other. So it was like, the time is now. I mean, we primed. We got 2 kids that we cultivating for HBCU life. So why not help another parent that may not have the education or may not have the association or affiliation with HBCUs? Why not help them along this process? So it kind of was just like just do it.
Yeah.
So I think you just answered the next question. What were the steps you took to bring it to life? So now we can skip to the last question. How do you feel about it today?
Okay. You want to talk about the steps? Well, so we started doing it, but that didn't help us bring it to life. So tell you how life is full circle. I mentored a group of young ladies when I was at Great Commission Baptist Church. And it's funny that I have recalled and relied on them for several things in life. But Jalen of the Afro Community has been our #1 resource in getting the HBCUMom and the HBCUDad off and running, because like we said, we've been doing this for years, but it's always been a thought, a discussion, a how about, and it's never been any action put forth. And so once we pulled her in, it was like, okay, you gotta do A, B, C, and D. Yeah. And then she was like, you got really to this day to do it. But we have, I say the young kids that we mentored have come full circle and ended up doing things for us, especially with us being older. And we ain't that old, but I don't have that social media, like a handle on that. I don't do stories and reels. And so having that guidance on that and how to post and be, intentional about that, it's been wonderful working with her.
Yeah. And I think, as far as how I feel about this initiative, I feel good about it because, we're finally putting, the things we do on a daily basis into some formal action. Yeah. I think, once we kind of tag team on this and then we bring in our network and our resources that they have into it, I think this can only be a good thing. And ultimately, it's going to benefit, HBCUs around the country.
I say today how I feel is that when I met Demea, we met on some mentoring, educating, showing kids opportunities, and it actually was at Lockheed Martin. But the biggest thing was that his uncle had a fellowship foundation, and the mission of that foundation was to bring younger African American boys, because he focused on boys, let them know about furthering their education at colleges, but specifically HBCUs. And so he would take them on college tours. So I see this as a rebirth of his fellowship foundation, because he got older in age, couldn't really do it. And so I wonder what would happen. And I see us as taking on that charge and driving this on and continuing that family legacy of HBCU education, exposure, and yes,
and guidance.
What is the HBCU Mom?
So the HBCU Mom is more than just an initiative, or a platform, a space, experience, or a call to action. It's like all of that. You remember that? It's all of that. So that's what the HBCU Mom is. The objective of the HBCU Mom is to educate others on HBCUs, our legacy, our Black excellence, our education, our standing with other PWIs, whether it's academics, sports, and all the other things that we do and bring to the table. I want to be able to be a person that speaks to that, gives those who don't have the education on it, but mainly I want to get our kids back at our HBCUs. It was created for us, by us, and why not take advantage of it? The call to action for the HBCU Mom is mainly, first, I want you to invest. That means to donate to our HBCUs. We'll have several different platforms that you can donate by. One of them is HBCU Alumni United. You can donate specifically to the schools. And most importantly, if your job has a matching program, make sure that you donate the minimum amount so that they will match your donation back to the HBCU. Another call to action for the HBCU Mom is to invest in our Black-owned businesses. I know that a lot of big corporations have jumped on the HBCU bandwagon since we done got hot, but you have a lot of small business owners that have been doing this from day one. I'm representing HBCU Rated, and most of the t-shirts that I wear, they all come from Black-owned businesses, and a lot of them from HBCU graduates that own these businesses. But I'm not jumping on the Nike bandwagon or the Ralph Lauren bandwagon of them promoting us. I think that's great, but we have a lot of dollars that we can keep within our own community. And the other thing that I want is to get your kids into HBCUs. I want them there. I want them enrolled. I want them active. I want them engaged. If they play sports, we want them on the teams playing, but we want to get them back to our HBCUs, back home where we belong. So the number one pillar of the HBCU Mom is HBCUs. But I'm more than just an HBCU graduate. I am a mother. I am a Black-owned business. I am married to the HBCUDad, and our entire family is an entire lifestyle. Like, we are sneakerheads, we are just foodies, and some of us are. I'm very particular about what I eat. But we're a lifestyle, and so that is the HBCU Mom and the pillars of us.
So the HBCUDad is a multifaceted entity. It's more than an initiative, it's more than a platform, it's more than a space to talk about HBCUs, it's more than an experience. What it is we want it to be all-encompassing. We want it to be everything that your child or you as a parent need. We want to be able to educate. We want to be able to inform. We want to be able to guide you to the path that you need to, create a good space for your child and you also as parents to discuss the possibilities that lie at HBCUs across the country.
Speak specifically to dads, right quick.
For fathers, I want them to realize that HBCUs, they have opportunities for them to enjoy. Particularly with a lot of us being sports enthusiasts. There are a lot of things going on from a sports aspect to get active in. You look at football obviously is getting a lot of attention. You look at the basketball teams; they're getting a lot of attention as well. You have big name coaches that formerly coached at places like TCU or Arkansas or whomever. They're now coaching at HBCUs, and they're able to recruit better. They're able to work the transfer portal to get those higher level athletes and generate interest into our revenue sports. And as well, we have to also support our non-revenue sports, the women's basketball, the golf teams, so there are plenty of opportunities that our children may enjoy. Even now, the black community is embracing soccer. There are many HBCUs that compete in soccer, both in Southwestern Athletic Conference and Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, for an example. So I want our fathers to understand that we don't have to focus on LSU. We don't have to focus on the University of Alabama or Auburn University that our kids have to go to in order to create a path to the professional levels. It can be done right here at our HBCUs across the country.
One more probing question, and I'm thinking of future content. Give me more about a father's particular role in guiding their children's education. We already know what the mother's role is, but we don't get enough of fathers' roles in that, so I want you to speak to that. This can be the really long-winded answer.
As a father, I think we have to play a big part in, guiding our children throughout their college experience. For those of us who did have the opportunity to attend an HBCU, I think it's imperative that we impart, some of our experiences. How did we go throughout our day-to-day life? How did we balance, the social aspect, partying, hanging with friends, and also, coming home at night to write that term paper, write reports on whatever it may be. Spending time in your electrical labs or your biology labs. I think we have to share our experience that we had in guiding our children. And, we also have to, consider that, going to an HBCU, it's a possibility that they may meet their future, wife or partner. So we have to kind of share our experience on how we balanced, our dating lives, and, really give them some guidance so that, they're not out there doing the wrong thing. They're not making the same mistakes that we made. Now is our chance to help our children, not only kind of let them live their life, but also caution them from making mistakes that we may have made already or seen made by other people that we've run across during our times. So the objective for me is to provide an opportunity and a space for parents to be able to get your child, to get the right information to both you and your child. I want to be able to, provide you options. I want to be able to provide you resources. I want to be able to help educate you and your child if needed. I think that, one of the objectives also is to help find those ways that we can donate. You may not donate, $1,000. You don't have to have $1 million. But if you have 10, that 10 adds up. Your 10 plus my 10 plus another 10, that's 30. We continue to build like that in small doses. Sometimes that makes a bigger difference than just a donation of $5,000 one time and then you're done. You divorce yourself from any other interaction. But if you continue to donate and keep those opportunities open, it benefits you, it benefits the school, and it benefits your children, particularly if you if they decide to attend.
3, 2, 1, action. What is the HBCUDad? What is the call to action?
Call to action is to bring awareness. We want to educate. We want to inform. Those are the things that I think that are paramount in getting the HBCU narrative out to the masses. We want to be able to educate those who have no idea about HBCUs, those who haven't had the interaction with HBCU graduates. I want to be able to provide the information that they need in order to get their child, enrolled in school. I want them to find those resources for the scholarships, grants, whatever it may be. We want those things to be out there that they have easy access to, and we also want to be able to help them do the work. We can point them in the direction. We can use our resources to connect them with people at various institutions and provide them that opportunity to get the ball rolling. Pillars, I believe, is first and foremost, keep HBCUs in the front. You can only lead from the front, you can't lead from the back. I think also, being a father myself, I think it's imperative that we continue to engage our fathers on every level of this college journey that our children may possibly go down. We want to, keep them in line with, supporting each of their endeavors, whether it be in the classroom and also on the playing field. Another thing is we want to be able to promote those black businesses that champion HBCU. Like this is Person and She. We want to create those brands. I have friends that also have companies that make apparel. We want to be able to, have that space to promote those brands, wear those brands, encourage others to wear those brands. Also, from a marital standpoint, working with the HBCUMom, I think we can tag team on this thing and really push this out to not just locally, but across the country and out to the world. That as a team we can promote HBCUs and make them continually relevant from now and into the future. And it's important that I think HBCU grads all over continue to live this lifestyle, and I want to be a shining example of